Alright guys, we are going to get started here with this panel. Jay and I have done our damnedest to be podcast horror hosts, live horror hosts, theater horror hosts. But two of the most fun horror hosts here in the Northern California area especially to check out are my next two guests. And they are Lord Blood-Rah and Miss Misery.
Yes.
No.
It comes with the job.
Yeah.
It's part of the job.
Part of the job.
Right?
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Well, welcome you two to Sinister. I
Thank
know
you.
it's not your first Sinister for either one of you.
Not by a long shot.
Nope.
Are you guys having a fun time out there?
Oh yeah.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
There's some incredible costumes out there, too. It's great.
Oh yeah.
What's been one of your favorite ones that you've seen?
Oh,
There's an incredible
The-
Jason walking around.
there's,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Come over to the table just a few minutes ago.
Yeah, and they're the mole people.
Oh,
Yes,
yeah,
the
the
mole
mole
people.
people.
The mole people.
I was like, oh my god, I can't believe somebody dressed up as the mole people.
Yeah, there's a good werewolf out there, too.
Very funny. I saw him in the dealer's room. He came up behind me, was like, "Oh, very cool." And the lady behind one of the tables who was younger said, "Is that a slee stack?" No, movie before
No.
your time.
No.
The Mole Man. Close, but
So horror hosting is one of those things, late night horror hosting. There's been so many good late night horror hosts. I mean, we just had Joe Bob up here earlier today.
yeah.
And the thing about horror hosting, which is why I wanted Jay to co-moderate this panel, is it is like theater with film production. You guys are very much bringing us into your worlds, and you are talking directly to us, like almost like a one-man play as you present whatever the film is that you're going to be showing us for the weekly episode. And that's always been something that has fascinated me, whether it be a live person or even like Crypt Keeper, like puppetry type of a thing, you know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
So, I had a two-part question. What was the movie that originally like got you into the genre? And then what was the movie or the host, or what was the bug in your ear, so to speak, that got you into knowing that you wanted to be a horror host?
Okay, all right. Well, the original film that got me into horror was John Carpenter's Halloween. Yeah, I was.
What a classic.
Oh,
Yeah. So I was 9 years old, and I snuck into my dad's VHS collection. I took it out and I watched it because I wasn't allowed to every year for Halloween season, and that's what made me fall in love.
Oh.
So it was that, yeah. The first film I ever hosted as Miss Misery was The House on Haunted Hill
Nice.
with Vincent Price, and that's my whole time. Like Vincent Price is so sexy, but
Oh, yeah.
he is, right.
In that one especially.
Yes.
I think so too.
And I've always
I do.
and I've always wanted to have a party with cool little coffins to pass out, you know, so I love that movie. It's a good
Yeah.
movie. But I think when it comes down to it, all of the movies have some sort of, you know, I have love for. I don't think I can really pick and choose favorites all the time, though. I kind of love them all. If I'm hosting them, you got it, right? I mean, you can't just host a film and be like, oh, it's kind of boring, but I'll show it anyway. Because there's some love there, I think,
Oh,
for every
absolutely,
film.
absolutely.
We do. It's
Right. Yeah.
so. Was that? Did I answer?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
No,
Just
you
making
got it.
sure.
Don't worry.
Of course, I'm an old man, so the
What?
film that got me into horror.
That's not all makeup?
Oh God, no.
I just assumed that was
Just
all
the
makeup.
eyebrows. Everything else.
Oh,
is
okay.
Years of aging. But the film that got me into horror was Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein,
Oh.
because the Universal monsters.
Yes.
Because that movie is funny, so it's kind of a gentler introduction to a young kid for the monsters, and the monsters are just the monsters. The monsters are not joking; they are the serious monsters, and Abbott and Costello are just you know, they're
Abbott and Costello.
They're funny. They're
Yeah.
Abbott and Costello. Yeah. Now I fell into hosting completely backwards in that an opportunity came up for me to host a live show at a winery, and I did. I'm very close. I've told this story 100 times before, but very close friends of ours own a winery in Castro Valley. They wanted to show a movie that Plan 9 from Outer Space was a movie they wanted to show.
Perfect movie to show at a winery.
Perfect, right? Yeah, you need wine.
Yeah, yeah.
And
You know, see.
Oh, he knows. And they did it. They got a host for it because I said you're gonna need a host. So they got a host for it. The show came off, but there were problems with it. And that night, Damien, who was the winemaker, came over to my place. So me and my wife and he were sitting down having a glass of wine, and he said, you know, we need to do this every year because it's really fun. I'd love to do this every year. Do you know any other hosts? And I'm like, well, no, I don't think John Stanley is like doing this kind of thing anymore. He's more writing now. My wife turned to me and said, why the hell don't you do that? And I did it, and that was over 11 years ago. And the first films that I hosted the first film that I hosted live was the original Little Shop of Horrors.
Oh.
Which, you know, and that film, I've hosted that film live, it's gotta be like 6 times, at least.
Wow.
And it always gets a laugh, always. That movie is still hilarious. I mean, the musical is fine, it's good. That original film, that original Roger Corman film just is still funny to this day.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Now the first film I did on my show was another Roger Corman film, Bucket of Blood, because it's just one of my favorite films. That's just, it's a low budget film, but that is an incredible film. Just a little nobody who's trying to be somebody and finds that he has to kill people to put them in clay to get some kind of recognition for. It's brilliant, brilliant film.
Right on. The fact that you guys kind of each found your way with movies that are different subgenres of the genre of horror is a showcase to how unique the horror genres can be.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
how diversified. Yeah,
Definitely.
definitely.
I'd love to ask about, as far as horror hosting goes, when you talk about all the great horror hosts, Joe Bob, Elvira, yourself, Lord Blood-Rah, Miss Misery, where is the separation between character and you real? Is there one even? Is this you more being you than what you get to be in your normal life, I guess?
I'm a goth girl. So I grew up worshiping Elvira. So, yeah, so it was Elvira like I think 3 years in a row when I was a kid for Halloween too.
Oh.
Yeah, except my eye makeup, I had black eyes because I did not do my makeup, but you know, whatever.
We all learn in our own time.
Yeah, exactly. But growing up with Elvira and Tales from the Crypt and just loving horror, I've been a goth girl my whole life. So to dress and look like this isn't really far-fetched from who I am. So I'm just kind of, I feel like I'm just in my norm when I'm Miss Misery in a way, actually. So, yeah.
Lord Blood-Rah is me minus any inhibitions at all about being a geek. In fact, very, very full of pride at being a geek. Lord Blood-Rah will be happy when the Super Bowl is held at a little hotel off the interstate and Comic-Con is broadcast nationwide.
Yeah.
Lord Blood-Rah has no qualms about being a complete and utter horror and science fiction geek. Period. Now, I tried to do a character the very first time I started doing live before I started doing the TV show. The first character I have for Lord Blood-Rah who's going to talk like this. And yes, my lords and ladies, it's Lord Blood-Rah, and I've got a film for you tonight. And I started working on that voice, and I was practicing that voice. I practiced that voice all day long. And I was driving to the gig, my first gig, and I'm like, yeah, this is Lord Blood-Rah. This is how I'm going to talk. And I walked up on stage, and it lasted 2 seconds and went away. As soon as I stepped on the stage and started speaking into the microphone, it's like, that's not me. That's not comfortable.
Yeah.
I can't think about sustaining something that's not me and expressing the love I've got for these films. It's 2 different things.
Yeah.
So,
It's true, because when I first started, I tried to act too overly sexy in my voice and pushing them together,
You were
making sure they
vamping it up.
take together,
Vamping it
up.
and I was like, I can't, because I started being me while in the middle of it, and I was like, we need to reshoot. Now I know what I'm going to do. You know what I mean?
Now,
you got to be comfortable.
Yeah.
for both of you and your success and your fandom, do you feel both those come from the fact that you dropped that and just went authentically more you because it shows the love?
I would say so, yeah.
I think so.
Yeah, I would say so.
I think so,
Definitely.
yeah. Because if you're concentrating more on building a character, I mean, first of all, there's no right or wrong way
No,
to
Yeah.
be a
there isn't.
horror host.
No.
But for me, if you're concentrating on building a character, then you're not gonna express the love for the films that I think you should, because the audience can feel that.
Yeah.
They can feel if you're enjoying sharing these films with them, they can
Yeah.
feel it. And
They know.
yeah, exactly.
They
And the
do.
way I like to do my show is I am watching this film with you. We're watching it every Saturday night. We're going to get together. We're going to watch a crazy film that I'm going to bring to you, and I'm going to point out some crazy stuff about it.
Yep.
And we're going to have some fun. And
Yeah.
that's the way I look at it. So having a character is a totally different thing. Now, there are some people who can absolutely do it.
That's
You
true.
know,
Yeah. But I think when it comes down to it, we are our character. We are
Yeah,
characters.
yes,
You know what I
yeah,
mean? We don't
yeah,
have
yeah.
to pretend. We can be
Yeah.
us, and people will love it.
Yeah.
That's what's so great about it. I don't have to be like, hey, everybody. You know what I mean?
You
I
don't have to put on.
I don't have to put on a show. I'm me, and you watch the movie with me. You're comfortable with me. I'm just like you. I'm a dork.
Exactly.
You know
Oh,
what
yeah.
I mean? So.
And the emphasis in the beginning was on character. You know, 1957 when the horror host thing on TV
Where
really
we had
began,
the
it
late
was
night
about-
vampires telling the story, coming out of the coffin.
exactly.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Zachary and
Yeah.
Goulardi.
Lardy, I was supposed to say Lardy.
Exactly, but they weren't about. They were showing the movies. It was nothing about loving the films they were showing. They were just
Yeah.
presenting the movies.
They're
yeah.
just
And then, like what you said with Elvira, she took the opposite approach almost, where it's like she did create a character, and then she showed these movies, but showed very little love for the movie during it. Really went oh no, I'm going to show you a pile of crap.
Yeah,
I'm going to
exactly.
show you the
Right.
worst possible worst.
Yeah.
And that's where I feel, again, like we said with horror, there's no such thing as a wrong horror. There's so many different styles.
Exactly.
That Mystery Science Theater 3000 approach to showing a movie has its place and has its
Yeah,
fans.
absolutely, it's legit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then you notice yours gravitate towards you guys being honest. So then what are some of your favorite films that you've got to show and share with fans? That maybe they wouldn't have seen without the two.
You know, it's funny because you think Vincent Price, everyone knows Vincent Price, but there are actually people who didn't know who Vincent Price was until they watched Vincent Price movies that I hosted. It's crazy.
Huh.
I'm not kidding.
So they just know of the icon
They're
that
like-
is, but they do
But
not
they
know
don't
material.
know, oh, okay, I know I've heard of Vincent Price, but it wasn't until I saw like Tingler or a movie you suggested or hosted that I'm like, oh, this is cool. He's actually really great. You didn't know who Vincent Price was?
That is awesome.
But yeah, but I'm like, cool. Then I'm like, here, buy some more DVDs.
There you go. Right. Yeah.
It's
And-
funny. I'm
Okay.
sorry to cut
I
you
was
off.
just gonna say, it's like Night of the Living Dead. I can't even count how many times I've hosted Night of the Living
Yeah.
Dead live. And I always make a point of asking, how many people here have not seen this movie before? And there's always a few hands.
There is.
Wow.
There is.
But that film is, each time is devastating.
Yeah.
Each time the audience is silent by the
Yeah.
end. It's just so.
Yeah.
such a shocking film.
It is my favorite horror film of all time, the original Night of the Living Dead.
It's truly amazing. Yeah.
It's ageless. It keeps
Absolutely.
being relevant every time you watch it. You're like, wow.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. I know, Lord Blood-Rah, I know your work. Miss Mystery, I haven't gotten to see your stuff yet. I'm gonna go purchase a DVD. No, I'm gonna go purchase, I'm going right away. Right after this panel, and I'm gonna race these people and fight a couple of them. I know I can take you. But when it comes to stuff that you get to share, what are some things that you've learned about some of these films that you love that you've gotten to share with people as well?
You know, when I first started horror hosting, before that I had a show called The Last Doorway. We had about 80 episodes of that where I went to cons and I just did interviews. I didn't seek out being a horror host because of the fact that every horror host has hosted the exact same film over and over and over again. So I thought, who's gonna watch me do that? The Living Dead again. Apparently everyone, there's a market for it. So when I first started watching these films and had the opportunity to put my show on television, I thought in my head, like, I've seen these movies, I love some of them, I don't know all of them, am I gonna be bored?
Oh.
So as I began watching and taking notes and getting episodes and scripts together for the first season, I was like, I like this. I like these movies. They're unique, they're different. They're so old where you're like, seriously? But it's fun, but it's good fun. And I was like, people who have not seen these movies need to see these movies. You have fun with them. I wish I could bring back, I wish I owned a movie theater because I would totally do, who's that director who had the movie, he would like interact the audience with the movies. Wasn't there a director
Are you
who
talking
did that?
about William Castle?
Yes. I wish I could bring that back.
Where you do the 4D,
He would
like
do,
the
like-
electric stuff under the
Yeah,
seats.
but I want like
and-
ghosts popping
yeah.
out on the side.
Yes.
That would be great.
They would
to
drop
do.
during
Like, something
13
like that.
Ghosts. They would drop a
Yes,
yeah.
yes.
Showmanship.
God, I
Yes.
wish I could do that. That's awesome. So like as I started watching movies, my brain explodes from imagination of wanting to do so much, and that's why I've done 150 episodes so far of Movie Massacre.
Oh, wow. I'm closing in on you. I'm up to
I'm
130
You're getting it.
something. I'm up to 130 something.
Okay, I gotta go film. See you guys.
I can't let him get that close. I can't.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
One of the ongoing things, because I was lucky enough to host a panel with Lord Blood-Rah and Mr. Lobo
Lobo.
a couple of times ago. I have a thing with adoring horror hosts. That's the thing. So what I love is even though, like what you said, you're all showing the same films over and over again, it feels very much like you're all family, though. It doesn't feel like you guys are ever competing with each other as far as who's going to watch my version of Night of the Living Dead.
Yeah, and that's what's so great about the horror host community. I mean, yeah, there's been some bad seeds. I've gotten some stuff from people. I don't know what is it, jealousy. I don't know, you hate me, whatever. But aside from that, I think we've all like.
It's supportive,
It's
especially
very
in the Bay Area.
supportive. Yeah, especially in the Bay Area. And it's not like, oh, he has more than me, or his set looks better. It's like, dude, that looks great. I should try this, or how do,
Right.
you know what I'm saying? And we support each other, and that's what it is. And thank God it's like that, because if it wasn't, I wouldn't be horror hosting.
Yep.
I'd be like, I don't cool off that community.
And being in the
You know?
era of the internet, we're not fighting over a time slot or anything like that. You
No.
can watch all the horror hosts anytime you want to, pretty much. You know, and we do all pretty much all of us draw from the public domain bin,
Yeah.
which is a finite number of movies. But
Every year you
that
get new ones. You
You
can start
keep
showing Winnie the
watching.
Pooh if you really want.
Well, I keep watching for things to fall in the
Yeah.
public domain.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, some things fall out. of the public
It's
domain.
strange.
I know, it's really weird.
Legal things.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I think that horror host fans watch horror host shows. This is going to sound strange, but in the way that fans of Shakespeare watch different productions with different actors. It's to watch the approach.
I gotcha.
How you're going to approach the film, what you're going to say about the film, what kind of jokes you're going to make about the film. Are you going to make jokes about the film?
Yeah.
You know, so if we all, from our own personal experiences, approach the films differently and
Yeah.
do different things with them.
Well, you know Blood-Rah because you've been on my podcast a few times. It's the same thing as like listening to 3 different horror podcasts. The news is going to be the same news on a weekly basis, but everybody's going to have a different take
Exactly.
on that
Yeah.
news.
Exactly.
Like,
That's right. Yeah.
And that's how you find, I guess, like what you want to consume as a viewer, because soon, you know, you can either say I'm going to watch them all, or you kind of sample them out, and then soon you
Yeah.
almost develop a relationship with a certain show or a certain horror host. And you guys kind of answered my question indirectly with the public domain thing, because now I know we've done kind of like podcast live streams on our charity fundraisers where we throw a movie up and we podcast along with the film Mystery Science Theater Hour 3000 Light.
Okay.
And it is, you know, pulling from
Usually under the influence.
what
Of course. Of course.
what you know, films in public domain is like how we chose what we were going to show.
Sure.
And so my question to you guys is if one is like trying to break into horror hosting, what would you say? Because you nailed it with the, you know, the internet is very much alive and well, and
Mhm.
anybody can be broadcasted at any given time that they so choose.
Mhm.
So the thing of having to have like a studio for sure back you, or a film production crew, it's not necessarily a requirement anymore.
No.
And then
I don't have one.
the public, yeah,
Yet.
and
Well,
the,
yeah.
and the public domain library makes it very easy for you to say, okay, I can get away with showing something.
Mhm.
So, like, is that the 2 kind of big pieces of advice to get started? Like, make sure you can show what you want to show legally, and like, do your research about what you're going to show. Like, what would you say?
You know, I've had multiple people come up to me at cons and ask me about that they want to start horror hosting, they want to get into it, and I say just do it, because there's nothing really stopping you. You've got the movies online. Come up with, you know, a persona or yourself, you know, just you in some pajamas, whatever you want to do, you know what I'm saying? And just do it. I mean, a lot of people I know are hesitant. They're like, oh, it's so much hard work, so much of this. Well, if you love it, do it.
Yes.
But if you're not going to put love into it, you're going to complain that it's too much work, don't do it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's
Because
right.
then you're just going to, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what I would say. That's usually the advice I give everyone. Filmmakers, writers, anyone who comes up asking me, I'm like, just do it. Why are you asking me about it? Do it.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
all you have to do is get out there. There's so many horror hosts on YouTube and on the internet that you can research and watch and learn from.
Sure.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. I started doing live shows primarily, and then I did a panel at it might have been Big Wow in San Jose, like 9 years ago, and somebody stood up in the audience. It was on Horror Hosting. Somebody stood up in the audience and said, "I run the TV channel on Chabot College in Hayward. We'd like to air your show." And I said, "Fantastic, great, let's
Let's
talk."
do it.
I had nothing. I didn't have a camera. I didn't even have a camera.
Yeah.
I didn't have a camera. I didn't have a set, anything. But immediately I thought, yes, that's the next step. I got to do it. So I kind of picked it up and learned as I went. Yeah.
That's the exact same way. The same guy from Chabot College.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like, I had the last
Sue
doorway.
Joy Seagar,
Sue
yeah.
Joy. So I had the
Wow.
last doorway, and he's like, hey, here's my card. You want? I'm like, host movies?
Sure.
Okay, let's
So blame
try
Sue
it.
Joy for what you're seeing.
Yeah, because I was
Or
like, all right.
thing.
Aren't they?
Yeah, that's
Aren't
great
they?
things. And it was
Yeah.
that big wow. He confirmed. Were we at the same? Maybe
Probably.
It was the same.
He
Probably.
was literally throwing nets out to anybody.
That's right.
Who's gonna? One of you, please tell
Yeah.
me.
That's
Yeah.
what it sounds like. That's what it sounds like. Yeah.
That's awesome.
And I just, from there on, I just learned how to do it. I taught myself Final Cut. I taught myself how to film, and just did it. And I can't imagine not doing it now. I love it. I love presenting these films.
Yeah, exactly. I read a lot of books. I went online and learned. My husband took up camera, and we set up lights. And my show is actually set up in my dining room of my house. It's permanently there.
That's awesome.
We eat on the bed and watch TV. We don't have a
That's
table.
what we do
or
anyway.
chairs.
Why would we
The sex
do
is-
anything else?
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, my set is permanently right there, so I can film whenever I want to.
So then, when it comes down to the nuts and bolts of it, what would you say, either one of you, time-wise, from the moment you go, this is the movie I'd like to show, to the time to sit down and record? How long do you think that writing process is? How many times do you think you view that movie during the writing process? What are those nuts and bolts look like?
I usually watch the movie once.
Just once to write the script.
I do, yeah. If
Okay.
I have to go back, I do go back. But it used to take me, because I have insomnia, I don't really sleep, and I'm psycho. So it used to take me about
That's why I
24
like it.
hours to write 15 scripts. I'm not joking. That's including the segments.
Wow.
And putting in any sponsors and commercials and anything else I want in. Since I have my child, 15 scripts takes me about 4 days. It takes me about 4 days, I would say.
Wow.
But I get it all done, and I say, this is what we're going to shoot, and then I take a 2-week, 3-week break from writing, and then I'll film, because I'm not going to film right away, because my mind's like, I got to step away. Because sometimes I'll reach out to people during that time, be like, hey, I have a television show. Do you want to sponsor? Can I get a box of coffee for my crew? You know, things like that. So that takes time to go back to me. And then when I shoot, because we're at home, it's in our dining room, I go ahead and I shoot about 6 or 7 episodes in one Sunday. And then I'll spend the next 2 weeks editing. And then once those are done, I have all my master copies, and then I make covers. That takes about a couple days, and then I burn all the copies. I get ready for the next con. Whether it's in a month or a year, I get ready.
You get ready.
And then
That's
once
cool.
I'm done with those 7 episodes, I go, okay, what's the next 7 episodes I wrote out? And then go from there.
That's good. That's
It's crazy.
I film in 13 episode seasons, and I'm in the middle of season 12 now. And the episode, as a matter of fact, that airs tonight, it aired last night and tonight, premiere, is The Ghost with Barbara Steele.
Oh.
And I got myself into a bind. It's a great film, and I'd never seen it before, and it's really good. I got into a bind recently, switching over computers. My old one from 2013 sounded like a coffee grinder as it was just slowing down and everything. So I got into a bind with switching everything over and da-da-da-da. So this week I wrote the script Sunday, filmed it and edited it on Saturday, and it aired. It airs today. This week.
Wow.
And I've been in that bind before, and I don't like it, where it's like write on Saturday, film on Sunday, edit on Monday, it goes. I don't like being in that. I'm
Yeah.
gonna, over the next couple of weeks, try to get out of that. It can be.
Yeah, you
It can
should.
be rough. Yeah, it's a pain.
I give the stations about, once I shoot those 7, I just give them the 7, then I got within those 7 weeks to shoot the next 7.
Oh,
I give them the
okay.
7.
Oh, nice.
Okay.
Because I'm like, I don't want to, because I know so many horror hosts who do that.
Yeah.
Like-
I send them every week. Yeah.
Yeah, I put the dates on the disc and say, show them these
Oh, sure.
7.
In
you know
this
what I'm saying?
order.
In this
Yeah.
order, or
Yeah.
if it's out of order or whatever, in a way, sometimes it's fine. It's not like I say, hey, it's this day, this month, in front of every
You're not saying, hey,
episode.
next week we're watching this.
No, I
So,
don't.
yeah.
Because I'll screw myself up doing that if I change it. Or I get a cease and desist, because you never know, something's gonna drop out of public domain.
Yeah.
That is always
Ah.
rough.
And you
So
don't
no,
get,
I never do that.
neither one of you would get a warning for that from anything. You just, once you put it up, that's when suddenly you find out, oh, this is no longer in public domain?
I got a cease and desist, my very first one last year during the pandemic. I was starting, a lot of my fans wanted it on YouTube because they don't get the channels I'm on, or they don't have Roku.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I got a cease and desist from the daughter of the director of the film saying she doesn't want anyone hosting this. Take it down, even though I hosted it years ago.
Oh, Legend of Boggy Creek.
Legend of Boggy
Yep.
Creek. And I was like, ah, crap, that's
Yep.
my most popular selling DVD.
No longer public domain.
No longer public domain.
No longer public domain.
So I
Oh.
made sure to master over my master copy. I put no longer public domain, and then
I'm
all the
lucky.
stations.
I never pressed or released my episode. It was in rotation. Now it's out of rotation.
Now it's just gone.
Now it's just gone.
I have like
yeah.
5 copies left sitting in my house. Can't sell them.
I
Can't sell
haven't-
them, but you can give them away.
Well, you can give them away.
He's like,
You can't. No, you can give them
what's
away.
wrong with your eye? No.
You can give them away. I had a near miss with a movie that I'm still not entirely sure isn't public domain called Kong Island. I had written the script, filmed it and everything, sent it to the stations, and then I found somewhere on a list that it had been bought by an Italian company for American distribution, so I was like, oh. So contacted the station, said, don't air that, air a repeat. But so I burned it onto disc, and I give it away as a prize. It's more Blood-Rah's lost episode.
Oh, that's awesome.
They can't. All they can keep you from
That's right.
doing
Is
making
profiting.
money on
Yeah.
it. If you give it away,
Yep.
so you got a lost episode.
You have a lost episode.
Cool.
You have a
I'm gonna do that.
It's a
for
pretty-
the last
Yeah.
episode.
Yeah.
It's a pretty rad thing to say. You have a lost
A
episode.
lost episode. Come
That's what I
on.
thought too. The lost episode. Ooh, what did he say in that episode? That's bad, you know.
It was the one that he performed fully nude.
Yeah.
That
And it was bad quite rightfully.
just the top hat.
Just the top hat.
Well, 2 top hats. Let's be fair.
Oh.
So, when it comes down to it, so it's the public domain thing. So, are there any films that are so near and dear to you that you're like, if this was just possible, if this was not, what is your dream? I want to host this horror film for my show, whether it was public domain or not. Just what's your dream film show?
For the TV show.
Yes,
All the universes.
all the
All the
universes.
universes. The Hammer films.
Ooh.
Dr. Fives. Dr. Fives Rises Again.
Oh.
Just all of them. All the really great ones out there. Which I have hosted live. Because the theater takes care of the licensing, and then that's great.
Yeah.
But as far as doing it on TV,
Honestly, I think it would be the Universal Monsters movies. I've always wanted to host one movie that I just has stuck with me since I was a child that I love is Alice, Sweet Alice.
oh,
God, I would love to host
that's
that.
public domain.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it is.
No, I don't think it is.
You sure?
I
I'm
don't
pretty
think
sure
it
it's
is.
not.
I tried looking,
Oh,
I couldn't
well.
find any. Why? What'd you do? Did you host
No,
it?
I thought I was planning on it for season 13. I swear to God.
We'll look up after the
I
panel.
gotta
Yeah,
look
How's
we'll,
at
we'll,
that?
we'll research
Yeah,
that.
We'll
later.
do a search. We'll
I just
figure it
swear
out.
that-
But you know what would be fun is the Abbott Costello.
Oh,
Oh.
Africa Screams.
Like, Hold That Ghost.
That's
Yeah.
not
Ghost-
public domain, I don't think.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
That was not
Recording
said.
this?
That was not said.
No, that's it.
It is recorded, but shh, we're not gonna.
We gotta
Those,
say-
The only
those
one I
movies
know
would be
that's-
fun to host.
The only one of theirs I think that's public domain is Africa Screams.
Oh, okay.
And there's
Oh,
a
yeah.
giant gorilla in
Okay.
it. I guess that's the horror connection.
We have a couple minutes left for questions. Does anybody have any questions for these two?
I do.
Of course you do. Yes.
To the panel,
Yes.
your all-time favorite horror, science fiction, and fantasy actor, actress, and producer and soundtrack composers.
Oh.
It's a loaded question.
He's like, oh, we have time for 4 questions. I'm gonna use them all.
I don't know how to answer that.
My answer just changes from day to day.
That's
Soundtrack.
a hard one.
Soundtrack. My answer will never change. That's John Williams. Hey, John.
Well, yeah, John Williams is amazing.
My favorite
John
film
Williams.
soundtrack is the original Planet of the Apes.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
That is
Planet of the Apes
it's
is a good one.
an incredible experimental piece of music.
Jerry
God.
It's
Goldsmith.
really great. Jerry
Yes,
Goldsmith.
I'd have to
Jerry
go with that
Goldsmith.
too. That's a good one.
For me, John Carpenter's The Thing.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
I can
yeah.
I can start to finish just that's a mood on its own.
That's right.
I adore that soundtrack start to finish.
I think anything John Carpenter, I just love. I don't think that matters to
I
me. I just the
can't go
music.
wrong.
But you know what? The soundtrack recently, because it always changes, that I've been obsessed over is the Stranger Things
Oh,
show.
yeah.
Their soundtrack's been very good in every season. I think it's been amazing.
Whoever that composer is doing a good job of homaging but still making their
Yes,
own. Yeah.
exactly.
No, I agree. Yeah.
The homages to Elm Street in this season are pretty wild.
Right?
Yeah, they're wicked.
Um,
But what about actor or actress? That probably changes all the time too. So
Oh, yeah.
who would be your favorite actor?
You know, Vincent Price,
Vincent
the
Price.
movies, Vincent Price is amazing. I can't.
So versatile.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
can't see myself not saying Vincent Price.
Well, Boris Karloff has been able to.
There's so many. This is
Then
complicated.
you've got Lugosi. Lugosi was not necessarily what you'd call versatile, but brought something to every role he played.
His flavor was definitely one flavor, but a terrific note.
Oh, but yeah, real great. And then producer, William Castle.
Yeah, I was about to say William Castle.
Yeah.
William Castle's amazing.
I wish that, in this litigious society, I don't know if we could, but the great showmanship and the tricks that he used to play on audiences is fantastic stuff. Skeletons dropping out of ceilings and
Vibrating
sledding
seats.
across vibrating seats. and-
Vibrating seats,
Love to
yeah.
do that.
Yes.
So
You can't go wrong with the Tingler's seats. Come on.
No. Speaking of that, I'll be hosting the Tingler
That's right.
live this coming October at Chiller Diller Theater at the Orinda Theater in Orinda, California.
Mhm.
Chiller Diller Theater is every third Saturday night of the month at 9:30. We show a classic horror science fiction film, and in October it's going to be the Tingler. And actually tonight is Invasion of the Body Snatchers, and I'm hosting that virtually.
Nice. You also have a bit of news that you shared with me at your table. Is it something that you can share with everybody here?
Yeah, I think so. Within the next couple of months, Lord Blood-Rah's Wrackin Theater is going to be on Tubi.
nice.
So yeah, I'm thrilled about that. Thank you. I'm thrilled about that. I'm really happy about that.
That
Looking forward.
open up an audience. That's
yes.
all you can do is
That's
just
it.
keep going. Yeah.
Just keep going. That's
I
right.
love it.
Well, guys, we are actually out of time, but let's give it up one more time for Miss Misery and Lord Blood-Rah.
Is it a monster?